So what can we do? What we have to do here is to really investigate the heart of the problem. And I want to propose something that I call the equation. A person could state religion is the cause of war, hatred, and division, and come to a series of radically different conclusions or lines of action given that piece of data. For example, I could say religion is the cause of war, hatred, and division, therefore religion is false. It is not true. I can say religion is the cause of war, hatred, and division, and therefore we actually have to do everything we can to eradicate religion, if necessary by force, from the human body politic. And that has been a conclusion of large groups of people. I could say religion is the cause of war, hatred, and division, therefore we should get people of different religions together on panels to talk to each other so that they can see that the individual across the table is not so alien, not so foreign, and to see them as a person. I myself have been involved in interfaith panels, and this is one conclusion from the war, hatred, and division. I could say that religion is the cause of war, hatred, and division, therefore we should teach religious unity. We should abandon religion, or even I don't want to talk about it. So what is it that we decide on the end of this? Religion causes war, hatred, and division, therefore what? And what concerns me often in this case is that when we put something in on this side of the equation, which is instead of religion, we put another topic, another word, another concept, often we don't have the same conclusion. So for example, if I say religion causes war, hatred, and division, therefore it's false. Well, what if I put in scarcity of resources or desire for resources? It causes war, hatred, and division, because it does. Therefore, resources are false or should be abandoned or fought against. I don't think we'd ever come to that conclusion. Politics, for example, has been the cause of war, hatred, and division. Therefore, politics is bad, dangerous, is false, or should be abandoned. We generally don't hear that either. What's going on? Racial differences has been the cause of war, hatred, and division. Therefore, we should get rid of all racial differences. We don't come to this conclusion either. Money has caused war, hatred, and division. Desire for land, therefore we should get rid of money and the desire for land. So when we put these different things within the equation, we don't seem to come up with the same result. People do not say, you know, there's been a lot of division and hatred along racist lines. Therefore, I don't want to talk about different ethnicities and races. Or we have to get together somehow to like force people to breed so that they stop having racial differences. We do not look at something like the desire for land, like Lebensraum, and this desire for living space, and say, well, you know, this was integral in the cause of actual warfare. Or therefore, what we should really do is actually get rid of it. Or it's wrong to desire living space. Do I really come away with the same conclusions? And invariably, I find we don't. Money and desire for money has caused a lot of pain. But it's not inherently bad. It depends on how it's being used. Power itself is not inherently bad. It can actually be wonderful. So it's really about how we use power, how we approach power with our hearts and our minds. When it comes to racial diversity itself is not bad. Racism is. Political ideologies. We need political systems in order to govern our world. Yes, they can in the end be an agency for the causing of division and hatred and even warfare. But does that mean that politics is false or should be gotten rid of or abandoned or shouldn't be talked about? No, quite the opposite. We need to explore it.
The breeding ground of all these tragedies is prejudice. Prejudice of race and nation, of religion, of political opinion, and the root cause of prejudice is blind imitation of the past, imitation in religion, in racial attitudes, in national bias, in politics. So long as this aping of the past persisteth, just so long will the foundations of the social order be blown to the four winds. Just so long will humanity be continually exposed to direst peril.
What is the breeding ground for all these tragedies? Prejudice. Prejudice of race, nation, religion, and political opinion. It is not races, nations, religions, or politics, but rather prejudice. And what is Abdu'l-Baha actually stating is itself the root cause of that prejudice. It is blind imitation of the past. A refusal to use our hearts and our minds to investigate these issues afresh and anew, separated from our biases, separated from our blind adherence to our own faiths, political ideologies, our own nations, or our own even racial background. And as long as this, quoting, aping of the past persisteth, just so long will the foundations of the social order be blown to the four winds and be in the direst peril. It is actually ignorance itself and an unwillingness to investigate these things, an unwillingness to discuss them and explore them, that is causing the very prejudice itself, that is causing the division, the hatred, and the war.
For centuries and cycles, humanity has been engaged in war and conflict. At one time, the pretext for war has been religion. At another time, patriotism, racial prejudice, national politics, territorial conquest, or commercial expansion. In brief, humanity has never been at peace during the period of known history. What blood has been shed? How many fathers have mourned the loss of sons? How many sons have wept for fathers and mothers for dear ones? Human beings have been the food and targets of the battlefield, and everywhere warfare and strife have been the theme and burden of history. Ferocity has characterized men even more than animals. The lion, tiger, bear, and wolf are ferocious because of their needs.
Here in this passage again, one time the pretext for war has been religion, patriotism, racial prejudice, national politics, territorial conquest, or commercial expansion. We have actually seen colonial empires spread just for money, the subjugation of whole ethnic groups and whole nations. Why? Largely for commercial expansion. Do we believe commerce, therefore, is inherently bad? That we shouldn't have commerce? No. What we have to do is use our hearts and minds to actually explore these things and see what the very foundation and purpose of commerce is, and then seek that.
To theological dogmas have obscured the one reality, which is the source and basis of them all.
In this quote from Abdu'l-Baha, what is he saying? He is asking the individuals to look to the Baha'i community and explore what they're trying to do and what actually has been the result since its founding. That you have, again, Muslims, Christians, Jews, Zoroastrians, Buddhists of various denominations mingle and conjoin in fellowship and agreement. That we're actually seeing a global order, small though it be, seed-like though it be, of people putting aside their prejudices and their biases, but not their faiths. They're actually saying, yes, I'm a Buddhist, but I can now recognize that the same light that I actually see within the Buddha's teachings, I see that same light within the teachings of the Bab, or the teachings of Baha'u'llah. They're coming together in agreement. I myself know former Christian scholars. I myself know former Muslims, former atheists, former secularists. People who are coming together and trying to do their best to really understand religion and actually how it is interplayed upon the historical scene, what its true purpose was for, and studying that together. I want to call attention to the very last line of the quote that we just heard from Abdu'l-Baha. Fundamentally, all warfare and bloodshed in the human world are due to a lack of unity between religions which, through superstitions and adherence to theological dogmas, have obscured the one reality which is the source and basis of them all. What we have to look at is that the prejudices that have arisen because of a blind adherence and imitation of what other individuals have said. The time has come when humankind needs to stand up as individuals, in therefore rising up a collective where we're willing to truly look at these revelations of God afresh, because we can actually see them all as different scenes on the same spiritual tapestry. Different colors of the same light, or the same light in different lamps. That this is actually what Baha'u'llah has come to ask humankind to do. For now, we'll move on though. Money, power, politics, resources, land, the human mind, all these things can be beautiful and actually can be servants of the progress and uplifting and enlightenment of humankind. The technologies that have been given to us by science themselves can bring humankind together. They can lift us up and educate us. They can give us access to so